Recording.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Just when Isaac started, Chris was like, recording? Something he said.
Dude, same thing happened last time, man.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ground Zero podcast, the official podcast of Lobby Zero, the Ground Zero for gaming. We are back, and this, I believe, is episode number 7.
Bro,
Did we
six,
just-
right?
We forgot.
You just jumped ahead like another year. I mean,
No, if
wait,
we-
No,
no,
it's technically the 7th episode.
yeah, it's
but
technically
like
so
six.
Wait,
zero.
the last
no.
podcast we had was Rohin,
Six.
right?
I mean,
Five.
the last podcast was
That was
numbered 5, but it was
Yeah.
actually the 6th podcast.
See,
Yeah.
this is why we should not start with 0. Like, it's confusing.
Oh wait, did I want to do that or did you want to do that? I feel like
Let's say you.
I'll take accountability. But we are on episode number 7. Like this is the 7th episode that we are recording as a team, and I think Rahul is the one who said this, that it's usually the deadly number. If we can get to 7, apparently we're good. Like we're safe. Like we'll stick to this. So touch wood.
Imagine
we'll
stopping
continue the
after this
podcast.
episode.
Touch wood. Yeah, if it stops here, and then Rahul comes back saying, "No, you have to complete it and then do the 8, and then you're gonna be fine."
No, it
And
didn't
then we
count us,
stop at 8.
including
No,
0.
actually, so the jinx is basically episode number 7. So
Yeah.
till the 7th episode, most of the podcast survive. It's after that, they just become lazy and stop.
Oh shit.
recording
Okay, so we're
altogether.
still in the danger zone.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, but
Cool.
like I honestly feel we've upgraded a lot. Like
We
most
have.
of us at least have a mic.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
sir.
I just
My
did this
Look at
intro.
me. I'm just trying to save money out here for the business.
But that is your responsibility. You're CFO, so you
Yeah.
gotta do what you gotta do. But
Get the cost on your own end so that everybody else can have.
Isaac's using an AirPod.
but that was my own money.
But this whole
But,
set is my own money. Oh, shit.
But yeah, so yeah, we did upgrade. You know, I didn't even need a script for this intro, so I feel like I got better at the job. So but yeah, today for the 7th episode, because we're mid-July, it also happens to be right around the time that we hit midpoint of the initial 6-month plan that we had in mind when I decided to quit my job. It was my fail-safe to tell myself that what I'm doing isn't stupid. So I was like, anybody that I talked to, including my parents, I was like, listen, I'm gonna try this for 6 months, and if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna go back to get a job. But I think this midpoint matters so much more than just the things that we've accomplished over the last 3 months, because I've realized that it's not about having that fail safe. It's just about, I mean, for me, I was trying to have that safety net, but honestly, once I started working on this with the team, I kind of forgot about the fact that I have a fail safe. Probably because we started looking at money for real and trying to raise funds, so that became liability. So regardless of whether I have a fail safe or not, it got real. So I guess in a way, talking about raising funds, we are at the stage of the business where things have finally gotten real. We had the last 3 months to set the base, to put down the first building blocks to scale this thing. And I personally think that we've done a great job as a team. We obviously have a bigger core team. I guess there's 2 people missing here, which is Morgan and Chris Anderson, that were part of the Meet the Team episode. But these guys currently are the ones who are handling the specific verticals. Like Namil is now handling apparel, along with obviously the funding and the finance of the business. Rahul is handling the esports side of the business, along with creative direction, and Chrislin is taking care of content primarily. So Vibhav is here because I felt like
I just hang around.
he just hangs around, but I just felt like he comes from a perspective where maybe some interesting questions might come from his way, because he isn't as deep as each of these guys are in those specific verticals. So yeah, I figured, like it would be a good episode to get these guys on and talk about what's happened so far in these three verticals and what we're looking forward to. We've had the opportunity to make some mistakes, also do some really cool things, but also have some really cool conversations with people. And we think it's a great time to have a conversation and be a little retrospective and look into the future. So Namil has selfishly requested for the first section of the podcast because apparently that's when people listen. So he's like, I'm gonna talk first. So I'm gonna pass on to Namil. Talk about the merch, bro. Talk about the apparel. Let us know what we got going.
Yo, we got to talk about the lobzero.com now. We have our own website.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, honestly, I think that's the one of the major milestones we hit, personally at least, because I mean that and the pitch deck. But then I think in terms of allowing apparel to be a vertical, I think that was a cornerstone, and I think we did achieve that on the timeline that we had plotted for ourselves. So I think that's the first thing. We've actually established an infrastructure within which we can actually fulfill orders. So if you are interested in buying merch, we can sell.
Link in bio.
Link in bio. Link in description.
Slowly going.
Wait, but
So-
you just reminded me. But one quick thing that I thought would be nice to point out, because obviously we're also trying to provide value as much as we can and not just talk about things that are happening. The thing about the website and the pitch deck, because Namil brought it up, one thing that we learned was whenever you get this external opportunity to latch onto and try to seize, it's always great because it motivates you to get stuff done that you've been putting off for like a whole, like I think 1 or 2 months,
Yeah.
So this Lumakai thing popped up, the sector-based VC, the first one in India for gaming and interactive media, and Namil came across them on the Underdogs podcast, and he brought it to my attention, and we were like, oh shit, like this is what we need to go for. I mean, this is what we at least need to have a conversation with these guys. So what are the requirements? And then when we checked the form for all the requirements they were asking for, we pretty much had probably like 70% of it, which obviously still needed to be fleshed out, but the base was there. And he was like, we need to do this, and I was like, great. So the two of the big things that were missing were the website and the pitch deck, according to that Google form. Yeah. So we were like, well, shit, we got to do the website and the pitch deck. And the funny thing is,
2nd of June, and then the deadline was on the 30th. So
yeah, and we had like literally a week to wrap up everything, and we just like as a team, we just got into it, and we got it done. The website was done, the pitch deck was done, at least the first iteration, and it was me and Namil still talk about it, like how fast everyone just got to it, and like it's surreal. Like the day after we submitted, we were still like, how do we do that in 7 days? Like how do we do that in like 5-7 days?
We couldn't do that in 3 months, and we did it in 7
days.
Exactly.
It's like honestly deadlines along with an opportunity, just like
it's like external deadlines, like
it's an external deadline. Exactly.
External deadline. Like we set deadlines, and I know all about deadlines because I abuse calendars now. So, but yeah, external deadlines are great. So that's something that I think is one takeaway from this, at least for me, which is if you can find an opportunity out there, how small or big it is, if you can keep that external opportunity at the center of something that you need to accomplish. I mean, obviously you need to have your own like North Star, but like if you can find that external opportunity, just center that to what your business is doing and like work towards that. It'll really help, at least when you feel like there's a lack of speed or direction or velocity. So yeah, that's my takeaway. But back to apparel.
Yeah, I mean, then again, it's not like we were underprepared. Like we had all the shit, like all the stuff, all the pitch deck and everything. It was just that final push that was what was like lacking, and then I think that's what that deadline brought for us. Anyway, so back to apparel. Where was I?
If you want merch, we can sell.
and that's that. on to content.
We sell
Yeah,
more.
I mean,
That's
This
so,
is the
yeah, I
vision.
think-
This is the vision I had for Namir when I said you're gonna take care of apparel.
So yeah, okay. Anyway, in terms of apparel, I think the first thing is that we actually managed to establish a proper, fully functional system where we can fulfill orders through like a range of products such as like hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, and a lot.
Namil had to do coding for this.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's bring that up. Yes. So again,
Actually, yeah.
we are proud to say.
The only reason Vibha was bringing this up is because Namir has brought it up like 50 times already. even the interns know.
It's like every time. So I think on one of the open working sessions as well. At one point, I just started sharing my screen. I'm like, yeah, I'm just coding out here.
He hasn't
So,
done.
no,
he hasn't
wait,
done-
hold on, Zach, 1 second.
Go.
For the viewers, if there there's like 5 or 10 people, let's let them know. We are the only brand to do personalization for customers, especially gamers in India. So that's something that I think is of abundant value because people do place a certain level of, like, I think I don't know what the word is. It's not swagger, but like I think importance on their username, and especially like Krislan identifies himself as the walking bat.
Like
the
repping
preacher.
themselves, right?
Preacher,
Hey,
yeah.
let's not bring that up.
Yeah. and,
Preacher lobby.
like Strange, I think Strange is a really cool name. I think Strange is a
Yeah.
really cool name as well.
Yeah,
And I
because I'm the only one who is still using my gamer tag even during meetings, like on Google
Exactly.
Meet or like
Okay,
Zoom.
no, I've started following your suit though. I've started adding like not underscore.
Not
Vibha.
Vibha.
Yeah, so I
It is
think
a name, but yeah.
allowing people to actually rep that on a piece of clothing, I think that's extremely cool. And I think even though I had to take some coding lessons and making it possible, but like it's there on the website, so you can obviously choose to get your own gamer tag. And then apart from that, I think we dropped our first. Actually, that's a segue into us dropping our first collection, which is the Ground Zero drop, and so you can check out some cool designs. We're still working on it. That's going to keep getting updated as we go through because that's from the brand. But along with that, another thing I think that was quite significant is this collection that we created in collaboration with creator. Can we see his name?
Yeah.
The event is done now.
In collaboration with Seek Warrior. He was quite happy with it. That went really well. Yeah, and so it's up on the website. So congrats to the winners. Hopefully you get to choose from a set of cool designs as well. Apart from that, I think one of the most significant things that happened is I think it was an epiphany where we kind of realized that there is an opportunity to pivot from the apparel vertical into a merchandising vertical within India because I think it's important to kind of keep in mind which market we're in. So based on conversations with people such as Sharad John and like other people as well, we have the infrastructure for it, and then it just doesn't make sense for us to utilize everything that we can do. So hopefully we're obviously there will be an emphasis on the apparel purely because we have the experience, but at the same time we will hopefully fulfill other demands and needs such as let's say like posters, stickers, notebooks, pads, mouse pads, and mobile cases.
Posters.
As well. Yeah, they're posters as well.
Poster.
Yeah, and I think right now we're currently working on. We've actually finished working on another drop for BGMI, as you know, like that's back. So it was quite difficult as well, purely because it's a very gray area, and then I had to do a lot of research to come up with things that we can kind of circumvent. So we've tried to be as mindful as possible, and we've tried to add our own Lobby Zero spin to it as well. Let's see if the audience likes it. And yeah, I think it's gonna be out in a couple of days. In a couple of days this week.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's another thing that happened, and I think apart from that, we came up with a merchandising proposal. I think that was a good move purely because we wanted to be clear about what we can offer as a merchandising partner for a content creator. So coming up with that proposal kind of gave us clarity on what are the services that we offer, and then we also in tandem helped us come up with a subscription model which contributes towards the revenue generation aspect of the business as well. So that's pretty much it in terms of what we've done so far. I think that kind of sums up everything.
I think
But
one thing that we should probably add is, so currently, we function on our backend. We use Shopify as a service, and the moment in which we realized, again, this is a takeaway kind of point, less of a entertaining content kind of point, more like a takeaway thing, where so Namil and I, we have some experience building a couple of other businesses in the apparel space, and Shopify was the same kind of platform and the tool that we used to build out the online store for those businesses, Hoodie Inc. and Tea Inc. And I feel like with those businesses, we kind of internalized this approach to business where we were always trying to maximize, like Bootstrap was really the name of the game, right? So we're always trying to maximize the efficiency and how do we use the skeletons that are lying around to keep building something new or reinvent. And so Namil hit me up one day and he was just like, "Yo, listen, I mean, why aren't we using Tiang's website? Like, we're paying for that, and why aren't we building the Lobby Zero brand on top of that, at least for the first iteration?" And like, it's understandable because we really did shift a lot of our focus onto Lobby Zero. So there, like, a lot of the activity that was happening and the brain power that was happening and just business activity in general was just happening through Lobby Zero at that time. And T Inc. was acting as a partner in order to support the apparel vertical of Lobby Zero. And so when he suggested this idea, I was like, well, I mean, that makes so much sense because
you
the
said that was
back end. Huh?
you said
Huh?
that was impossible.
No, I said I don't know if it's possible. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it's. I was very hesitant because I thought once it was locked in for one brand, like that was it. But then he was like, "It's possible. It's probably possible." So I went into the back end. I was like, "Oh shit, it is possible." So we changed it up, and that was perfect. Again, lining up to the Lumikai thing because it was literally just jumping on there. The back end of the apparel stuff was already started because it was set up for Hoodie Inc. Tea Inc. And we were just really just being so efficient and just setting that up, keeping that in the back end, and just designing this completely new home for Lobby Zero on the framework that
of T Inc.
on the framework that T Inc. had provided. So I think that was a really cool thing to do. It's another takeaway. I feel like always look at what it was left over, because I feel a lot of people, I mean, both Namil and I, and I'm sure in this team, like as far as ideas go, it's the most relatable thing for me is hearing somebody say, I had this idea and I did it for a while and then it kind of died down after a while, and that was it. But the fact is, in the process of building out that idea, whether it lasted for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, in the process of building out an idea, like there's a lot of effort that goes into it, and there are things that you are building in that 6-month period, which means there's a chance at the end of those 6 months, regardless of whether you go back to that business or not, there might be some relics as part of that you can just pull from and attach to the new idea that you have. I mean, and that's, I think, one thing that I learned, like with Lobby Zero, we were able to do with T Inc. So
Yeah.
Big ups to Namil on that though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like even I did not think like it's possible to actually build a website on Shopify, because all I've seen are just like these online carts where they sell their stuff. But like, I mean, now if you actually go and check out the website, it does not look like it's made on Shopify.
Right.
That's how well like it's been done. So
and we're working with the free themes, and like there was
That
this
was
one
another
theme.
thing.
Yeah.
That was another thing as well. So I think we used a certain theme for T Inc. as well, and I think Isaac, in the pursuit of like getting this done for with the deadline in mind, and I remember like surfing through the themes again, and I saw this other theme called narrative or something, and then I remember telling Isaac, Zach, I think this is more dynamic and we should consider it. And Zach, like, I know where he's coming from, because like it's completely natural to think that way, because he's like, no, that means redoing everything again. Like, and then he's like, let Rahul choose. And then I think I remember going to Rahul and I'm like praying inside. I'm like, please Rahul, like, see the vision. And then I was like, yeah, dude, this is so good. Like, just use this only. And then I told Isaac this, and he's like, cool, go ahead, Namir, you can switch it. I'm like, what? I have to do it. He played it right back, and then
Dude, I spent a whole day the day before that setting up everything, like all the
That's
pages.
it.
And
Yeah. So
Yeah,
with the
that was
instructor,
fun.
he switched all of that up as well, and then I think like we went into this mode, like Chris and I, for 2 to 3 days when Raul was working on the pitch deck. We worked on the website parallelly, and then Isaac was working on the other stuff that's required for the forms, like such the roadmap and everything. But okay, let's come back to the apparel thing. I just realized I missed one very important point, which is we're currently having a lot of conversations with prominent Discord servers within India
Yeah.
to kind of try and partner with them in terms of supplying them with apparel or merchandise, as well as kind of like focusing in on titles that their community plays and kind of tagging that along into our drops as well. So one thing that actually kind of came to our attention is the fact that there is a demand for jerseys at the moment. So especially in the esports sector. So that's something that I've already started looking into. We've found a couple of suppliers and we've gone in touch with our current supplier as well. So hopefully we'll get a positive response on that, and hopefully we can start, fulfilling those inquiries as well. So
Yeah.
that's
I
pretty
think
much it.
a really interesting part about the conversations that we're having is that a lot of the Discord servers that I mean, we've just started, so the few Discord servers that we have gotten in touch with, and had a conversation with, like, they're coming back and saying we haven't had a proposal like this come to us,
Ever.
Yeah.
and it's such an interesting proposal. Like, I mean, initially when I thought about it, I was very iffy because I wasn't sure if the audience was right. But then I realized, like, it's much better than any other collective audience, because these are people who are in a platform that's made for gaming, such as Discord, and they're all there communicating with each other about a specific title or a few specific titles. And if we collaborate with those servers or the management of those servers to come up with the designs, then those guys will be invested in kind of creating the best designs and maybe even getting validation from the customer. And I think that's another layer that we're adding on, that's different from probably most apparel approaches, which is we are looking for that consumer validation first, where we can give a range of designs and try to get validation from the community saying, hey, out of these three, this is what we really like, or out of these four, this is what we really like, and maybe go and make that. So I think that's an efficient but also very effective method of approaching apparel. So I'm really excited to see what comes out of that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it in terms of what's happened so far. And I
I
think,
I think I'll just add to this part of when like Rahul said about lobbyzero.com not looking like it was made on Shopify is also because of how much things have been added to the website itself. It's
Yep.
not just about the apparel. We are looking into like the Friends of Esports. We are looking into campus ambassadorship, and I mean these things will come up later on in this
Yeah.
conversation also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the website or lobbyzero.com has become a lot,
That's true.
and
We've got so many different, like, modules in it, right? Like,
yeah,
which-
Yeah. So
and that's the beauty
lobbyzero.com.
of
that's the point as well, which is which is kind of the point as well. At the end of the day, we are trying to be, ground zero for gaming and an ecosystem where people can come to for
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
yeah.
so-
So I guess let's move on to Rahul. What's in
Yup.
the
What's
esports
coming? ಅದು വേണ്ട.
Oh yeah, we're gonna chat about what's coming.
ಅದು വേണ്ട, ഞാൻ പറയും.
Wait,
What's coming? What's coming?
You good with that?
No, because we need. This is not it. This is not where we're stopping. we've got plans for the next 3 months. So yeah, we should talk about that as well.
Yep,
Let's wrap
yep.
that up.
I think one of the coolest things I think we kind of got to do in the last couple of months under the apparel vertical was actually give our merchandise to the creators on our label. And I think that was like the first reality check for me, where when they received it, they would send us a video or a picture, and then I think PurpleShrimp, Zara came up with this reel as well, and I remember seeing it, and I remember her wearing it, and I realized how real it is, like Lobby Zero on a hoodie, and how good it looked. The shout out to Chris for the design as well, for the I Was Lagging design, and I think we are planning on doing this stream. I don't want to like disclose too much about it, the stream with multiple content creators, and hopefully we will get more exposure by providing them with merch as well. That's something that we plan to do, and also hopefully onboard.
I mean, we can talk about Sick Warrior because it was a
Sure.
no, but then we didn't talk about Sikoria much, right? About the merch that we did with him. Like that was big because like I was actually
the dude actually loved the merch so much. He was like marketing it so a lot for the stream.
I mean, yeah,
so
that was the highlight. Yeah, that was the highlight.
Didn't he
for
do
his
like
giveaway.
a additional giveaway besides?
Yeah, exactly.
For his mods and his members, if I'm not wrong.
But so I think for the event that we are going to talk about, I think we'll cover it when we get to the content part of it. But basically, for the event, we had designed a couple of merch. Shout out to Chris again for that. Chris and again, actually, both of them. And Namil, obviously. Namil is like the head of the apparel. So, there's no real shout out over there.
At one point, I was drawing the design on my notebook. Like, hey, don't put the corner there. Try and flip it.
But what I was trying to say is like, the fact that look, first of all, the fact that Sick Warrior replied to our DM already is like, oh shit, crazy.
Yeah.
we have a snippet that Namil's been sending around where we're reacting to that. But
I think they can play that now.
Yeah.
Editor, please put it now.
But that's one. Second is the fact that we were able to pull off the unlocked IP with him. We're gonna jump into that in a bit.
Yeah.
But third is the fact that when the merchandise conversation began between him and Namil, the interest, that level of interest that he had in designing it, and once the product was done, once the design was done, he was like this is dope. And the fact that he placed it as the ultimate, tier for him to give away, like the fact that we were able to do that with a creator like him, and at least on a giveaway context, was really cool for me to watch. Yeah.
I think that's
not even just that, even for him to sort of we had decided a couple of tiers for the giveaway itself, but then just out of the blue, he does extra 5 giveaways just for his merch, which even we were not expecting. That itself speaks volumes. He ended up spending money out of his own pocket, and
Namil's thinking, wait, we didn't budget for that.
I know. I'm thinking, wait, what does that mean? I was like,
exactly. I mean, because we were all sitting on the call right during the event, and the event got over from our end of the giveaway at least. And he's doing member giveaway and monitor giveaway, and it was like, bro, did we do this? Did we plan for this?
But the positive side of that is that he plays that much value, to that. But we'll figure out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out what.
I mean, I think we got a really good creator on this for a very
absolutely.
Oh my god! I think we need to talk about that independently,
content. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for content for that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So big shout out to Sick Warrior.
Absolutely.
For making that happen for us.
Like he needs our shout out.
I mean, if there are people over here who don't know about Sick Warrior, go check him out on YouTube. So,
come on.
Yeah. That's the best we can do at this point.
Yeah. So what else is coming, man? What's coming in the future?
Thanks for asking, man. Goddamn. China here. Another thing, I think, I've kind of teased the BGMI drop. Likewise, there's going to be a couple more drops in the next couple of months as well. But I think the thing that I'm absolutely most excited for is the brand drop, with the crowdfunding initiative. I think that is going to be a special one, purely because I think we're going to kind of try and really incorporate that streetwear vibe into gaming, and hopefully come up with something really sick and something really cool, something that India hasn't seen before. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm just making statements out here like Chris, and I get thinking, what the F is this?
According to our research, please don't sue us.
No. When it comes to original designs, we're whacked. We're completely.
Yeah.
It's
just that if Anderson is going to listen to this, you're like, hey, more work for me.
Something twisted in his mind. Yeah, anyway, so I think
Namil better get another annual leave for this shit.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's something that I'm extremely excited for. Hopefully, like I think that'll kind of come around the time when we hopefully hit up a marketing agency and then like try and tell a story as well, so that people kind of they can buy into the idea if they believe in it as well. I think apart from that, I think we wanted to activate jersey sales like in the latter half of this 6 month period, but then I think that's going to happen a lot sooner, purely because we did have an eye-opening conversation with a couple of Discord servers where we realized what the demand was for that. So I think we'll look into that. I think, but most importantly, what's going to be different the next time we have this conversation is purely going to be apparel is not just going to be apparel, it's going to be merchandise, and then it's going to have a lot more products underneath. And yeah, we're going to do some cool stuff to kind of market it. We have a bigger team now, so I think we're positioned well enough to actually capitalize on the opportunity for the next 3 months.
That's also a pretty interesting factor. I remember coming in, I guess 3 months ago into Lobby Zero and like seeing the team grow. Like we've grown quite a lot.
I think
and
when you came in, who all
it
was there? It
was
was the core
April,
team.
March, April sometime.
Yeah, it was the core team and Deb. If
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And some other interns that
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
Nihal, we had.
Was that? But I thought Nihal came after Vibhav.
No, it was before,
Nihal
before.
came.
Nihal was before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. We've seen the team grow. I mean, it's not just about growing in number, but I feel like also growing in terms of, like the concentration of passion and the concentration of drive in making things happen for the brand. So absolutely.
And plus, like how Namil said earlier, like, eventually we all want to quit our full-time jobs and make this a full-time thing. So like, there's that as well.
Absolutely.
Riding along.
Absolutely.
One thing that I realized was like the external validation really helps.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if in terms of the apparel design, I was just realizing like when this guy was talking about like the merchandise, I realized we created that, and then how excited he was. That external validation really does go a long way, especially when you don't get it from your CEO.
I
said,
waiting.
"Oh my God,
He was sitting on that punchline for so long.
I got you.
You cannot make everyone happy. That's another takeaway. That's CEO mentality. You cannot make everyone happy, especially your CFO. So yeah.
But like just to add on to that, I think there was one more instance where we had this validation. I think if I'm not wrong, the person was Charanpreet, one of the members from Sick Warriors live stream, who took like the smallest tier of membership just to get onto the members giveaway for the merch. And the dude actually like upgraded his tier to the ultimate, which is like the last tier of the membership.
Oh, that was him.
And so the basic idea behind the last membership tier was that you get a giveaway as you get a merch as part of being a member in the ultimate tier. I think that's what it's called. So he took the ultimate tier just to get the merch.
Damn, bro.
Yeah,
And the
he gets
dude is even in
confirmed much.
Canada, so he was like, you know what, just send it to my address in India, like I'll get it shipped from there to Canada, like
Damn, bro.
And it's not cheap, man. That ultimate membership isn't cheap.
Yeah, it's a pretty big
That's
value
crazy.
also, so
Yeah, that's a compliment.
I mean, that's the kind of passionate community that we are also aiming at, right? I
That's true.
remember talking to Rahul about how we are very selective, not selective of people, but like at least
selective
we're
of the
concerned about how
yeah.
we are building our own community.
Yeah.
And
Exactly,
how we want
yeah.
this to be much more wholesome and inviting to
yeah.
everyone.
Non-toxic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hashtag say no to toxicity.
Yeah, so I think next we should talk about esports. I think talk about what's happening in that vertical, because I mean, if we're considering content as our cornerstone, like Namil said, if there's any chance of keeping people around, it's to keep the real fleshy stuff at the end. So Chris, pressure's on you, yeah?
Shit, bro.
I know you were taking part in some pointless Harry Potter debate before this. So if your mind is scrambled, get it together.
Just seriously
way to
putting
put pressure,
together
bro.
a doc.
Way to put pressure.
But yeah, let's talk about the esports stuff now, of what we've done so far and like what we're planning to do.
So I think this was around the time when I became a part of the Lobby Zero team as well. That was, I think the timing just worked out sort of perfect in order for us to also kind of like, put our foot into the esports scene. The first event that we had was in collaboration with a YouTube creator called ABC Gaming, who was at the time hosting a Valorant tournament, but we thought like, we can add a little bit of jazz and, add a Lob Zero touch to it, and we collaborated with him, and that was kind of a pretty big Valorant event in terms of just Lobby Zero, coming out as a brand and putting ourselves as the face of the ground zero of gaming. So over there, I think the players that we had were pretty much like I think 60% of the team were like tier 1 players of Valorant in India itself that took part in the event. So that kind of went well. That was the first event that we had, under the Lobby Zero brand. And then after that, we had the Lobby Zero Blast Off series, the Rocket League tournament, which was in collaboration with RL India, because like we cannot really use the term like Rocket League for branding any event. So we had to go off with the Blast Off series name, and that was the second event. That was actually the first event we had in collaboration with the Discord server, just to see like how the response was. And considering the Rocket League scene in India, which is not exactly that highly marketed compared to other countries outside, we had a pretty good response also over there. And we were able to pull in, if I'm not wrong, close to 18 teams for the tournament. And even that went on like, really well, smoothly. And the response in general was good. I think the timing was a bit off, because we decided to do that when all these guys were having their examinations and stuff.
Yeah.
So the general turnout for Rocket League tournament in comparison to that was lesser, but looking at the timing and people going through examinations, we did have enough people pulling in and actually showing up for the tournament as well.
Yeah, I think
that
was
big, yeah.
like that was also a point where we were exploring a couple of new ideas. Like we also had a little bit of a learning curve there in terms of interacting with like a Discord server and stuff, because the
Yeah.
concept behind it was, we're like a very young and small team, so how can we pull off something, and how do we approach it in an efficient way and like a viable way to make something like this happen? Because look, we might be a team of like 6, 7, 8 people at that time.
Yeah.
But those 6, 7, 8 people are not in a position to like host and make a tournament happen across multiple titles, right? That
Yeah.
are very different in nature. So the thought behind that was, how do we make something happen with that range, but in a very professional and viable way? So that's where like the whole Discord partnership thing came in. And I think that was the first one where we had that conversation. And Nishant
Yeah.
from that team was a great person to work with. I feel like also set the standard for someone who ideally would be that cooperative and help to make things happen, to understand. Like I went in, and me personally, I'm actually not as familiar as Rahul is with the esports scene in general. I mean, Rocket League is a whole another game. I don't think even Rahul had that much context, but
Yeah.
to be able to meet up with a guy like Nishant, and to slowly make our inroads into the community of gaming and find people like that who are willing to help. Because at the end of the day, one thing that we realize, especially having more and more conversations with Discord servers, is because that's really the heart of the communities in this country, right? Gaming community in the country. So when you talk to those people, you realize that regardless of whether it's their business or their community or their company, they have this common goal of elevating the gaming culture in the country. So when someone authentic like us approaches them and says, hey, we want to make something happen, they're willing to teach, they're willing to take their time, be patient, explain, go the extra mile if they need to make something happen. So yeah, that was a really cool experience for me, just to have that conversation and learn how to do things. And I think we also learned about a few new tools and how to use them in the context of this, stuff like that.
We're gonna talk about how we got the lead.
Yeah, you can talk about it.
If you're gonna again, it all goes back to taking, utilizing your leftovers. We actually did a sale for Rocket League, like for a small group of like 20 people. Like we did a hoodie sale when we were back at Hoodie Inc. And then again, like 20 wasn't like a huge number at that particular point in time, but then it went so smoothly that they actually came back the next show and they got another 2025. I think that's the first time we actually shipped a hoodie to Russia, I think. And so we got a solid contact. His name is Lakshay, I'm not sure. And basically, so I was in touch with him because like I told him, listen, if you need anything ever, you come to me. Like, and we didn't even have the business at one point. I'm like, you still come to me. Like, and I think I remember like getting in touch with him with regard to Discord server, and then I remember asking him, and then he's like, oh yeah, I'm part of a server which has like around 2,500 people. And I was like, okay, is there any way I can get in touch with the guy that's managing? He's like, yeah, of course. And then we got his number, and then I think I passed around to Isaac, and then Isaac just gave him a call, and then he was extremely professional. And then I think it just, like that was that first conversation, like him talking about the inroads. I think that, so I think like the takeaway here is you really don't know who can actually turn out to be valuable. Like, so just keep having conversations. And I think that's been key for me, like in life in general. So you don't know where it's going to come from. So just don't be afraid to have that conversation. You're really not going to lose anything. So yeah, just might as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because I was just networking. Yeah, absolutely. I was just having a conversation with Deb earlier today, and we were talking about, how some of these servers aren't really expressing interest. So Deb was asking me like, okay, cool. Like if they're not expressing interest, like why are we sticking around? Why are we trying to have conversation? And one thing, I mean, for a second I was trying to process that, but then I realized, adding on to that point, we're also at a stage where we're bringing new things onto the market also. Like, so we're going to have people that we contact. So when you're trying to do something new or innovative in the space and you try to have conversations with people, like I was able to realize that we should just be patient and just wait and like at least have that first conversation happen. And after that, after us explaining everything, if they express disinterest, fine. But even if they express disinterest or are even borderline a little dismissive, let's say, and might slightly hurt your ego or whatever, it shouldn't affect you as much because they haven't understood the value that we can bring to the table. Like they haven't processed it yet. They haven't understood it yet. And it's because I heard these other guys, other Discord servers come to us and be like, the first time we're hearing this, that, we were able to say like, it's fine. Like, let's see when he comes around. Let's just get that first meeting, that one meeting. Let's have that first conversation and pitch the idea. And if they turn after that, then great. But if not, no worries. We move on. That's it. But yeah.
At least like two people got to know about Log Zero.
Exactly. So yeah, but back to it, Rahul. Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty much it with the Blast Up series, which was Rocket League. And I think the biggest event that we had so far in terms of our esports side was the Call of Duty Mobile Clan Wars, the LZ Clan Wars event, which we did in collaboration with ESM India. That is again another Discord server that primarily focuses on Call of Duty Mobile. But the number of members over there, it's like huge. I think the number, if I'm not wrong,
11K
goes up to 11K, somewhere in between the range of 11 to 15K. Could be more, could be less. I'm not sure. It's like, from memory. But they were actually really interested in doing the collaboration with us when we said that, okay, we'll put in the prize pool. And they even, were willing to do the rest of the management on their own end in terms of like, making sure there are enough players coming in and stuff. So I think if I'm not wrong, they registered 100 teams for this event, and it went for a week long. And the last 2 days of the event, we had it, streamed live on our YouTube channel, which from my expectation, we had a really good response because for a channel that is doing a live stream for the first time, we were able to hit the highest concurrent of 35 viewers, which is sort of absurd when you think about, like, I've seen other esports channels where, like, only 6 people or 7 people show up and, like, they'll be just watching the match, but, like, just 30, 35, and not just, like, empty numbers. It was like a pretty fast chat as well, like, people supporting the teams and, backing them up, like, when they're losing rounds and, all that pressure is going on. So I think that was so far the biggest event we had in terms of esports. And even
coolest...
840 participants, by the way, 840 participants, 120 18s. That's like,
oh yeah,
actually, that was pretty big. But I think one of the coolest things for me watching that stream, like when I was just sitting back and watching the stream for the first time, like I was watching this esports event happen on the Lobby Zero channel, and there's people watching and there's chat. All of this is organic.
Yeah.
And the casting, like, so.
Oh yeah, we need to. Like, I mean, yeah. So that's a totally different story altogether, because the day one we had a pretty big disaster in terms of the casting situation. Like, we were able to manage the broadcasting, but the casting after like 2 matches was just kind of like, no offense, but it was sort of dead. Like, for an esport event, it was sort of dead. So this is where, like, so all the events actually, like the CODM complete event, like, I want to give a big shout out and a lot of credits to Debraj also on this, because he managed it flawlessly. Like, he was in touch with the moderators, with the admins of the server, and made sure, like, everything was going smoothly. But the biggest clutch that he came up with was on the day of our finals, even the semifinals and finals, where he was able to bring in 2 casters who actually are professional casters. And the funniest part was that usually, like, in your mind, you might think, like, for casters to gel along during an event and have this sort of conversation going on, through the matches, they need to have a certain synergy. But big shout out to Outcon and Arca. Those are the 2 casters that, Debraj was able to contact and get them on board. And I think we had the conversation with Arca an hour before the event, and with Upcon it was just 5 minutes before the event was starting. But dude, like, both of them just came on, killed it. The event was mind blowing. Like, I literally just wanted, like, I was the one handling the broadcasting. I wanted to stop that and just watch the event, because the casting was, like, so
like,
energetic.
The level of energy just was just crazy. Like, I was watching, and I was like, I was so entertained. Like, my brain was in overdrive because I was listening to them, like, in tandem with whatever was going on in the game. Just full energy, the speed, there was speed, but it was intelligible. Like, I could understand what they were saying, and it was awesome. I felt like the energy was real, man. The energy was real, and in that moment I realized how important, that component is when it comes to holding an event like that.
To be honest, we didn't even budget for casters, honestly, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was something which was like a last moment expense.
Yeah, we were clueless about that. That's another thing that we learned, I think. Yeah, Isaac, would you like to see a takeaway?
Set a pattern. No, but for real, like, I think testing out with somebody for the first time ever, like, so I mean, so for me the takeaway is, I don't know jack shit about this space, so I gotta rely on the person that does. And Rahul, fair play to him, always did place emphasis saying, like, yo, listen, if we're gonna do an event and we're gonna broadcast it, like, obviously we're gonna need casters. And for a lot of the people who are listening and who watch esports stuff online, it's not what do you say, it's not a great takeaway that you need casters on your tourney. but I think the takeaway for me is that just to be like, okay, like, this guy knows what he's talking about, just trust it. And you got to pick and choose the times that obviously you want to just trust and let go and let the person just do their thing. And then when the casters were just inserted, and sometimes you just got to trust, like, I mean, obviously we're putting money into this event, and you want the best version of it to come out. And because we were bootstrapping, the money that we're putting in was quite a bit, like, to us. So now if you're adding on a certain budget to that, it has to go under a certain level of consideration. So then when you're like, okay, cool, okay, if we're, I mean, but I think the rate that was on the table was also extremely like
Yeah, I
fortunate
mean,
for
like
us.
you're never gonna find anybody who, like, I mean, that's another, big upside I have to give to Upcon and Arca actually,
Yeah, yeah,
because I mean, we already had given them, heads up saying that, we are just bootstrapping. We don't have
yeah,
that big of a budget because the people we had initially, so Debraj had contacted a couple of casters and the rates they had given us was basically like ranging from 5K to 50K per day. That is the
yeah.
kind of rates we
Damn.
were looking at. I mean, that's the minimum amount these guys are asking for, but uh,
Per
for
day.
them, per day, yeah. So for Arca and Upcon, for them to do it at the budget that we were able to kind of like, squeeze through, and with the amount of like energy they put into the event, like, it did not feel like,
It was
they were really,
disproportionate. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it felt like, they did us a big favor,
yeah, yeah.
putting in
Absolutely.
a lot of effort into the casting itself, because that is something which I really appreciate, even coming from them as well. Like, they, after the event had gotten over, we had this, like, 1 hour conversation, and we were able to, kind of hit this ground zero,
Yeah,
basically, that. They are willing to work with people, like, who are passionate about gaming just as much as they are. So over there didn't really look at the kind of budget that we are allotting, but more about, like, the kind of effort we are putting into to make sure, like, an event that we are hosting has to come out, a certain level of quality has to be delivered for the people watching out there. So that was like, I mean, I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know what,
I like
more
to
I
say
can
that
add to
we're not
that.
gonna forget that. Like when we receive funding to those guys, I'm telling you, we won't forget that.
Yep. I mean,
Yeah.
I've already, like, told them the next event that we are doing for esports, I'm gonna contact both of them and make sure they both are the primary casters that we get on board, because I feel like they already know how the casting needs to be done, and make sure that, whoever is going to accompany them is going to match that energy as well.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's pretty much what we had done so far in terms of Lobby Zero. But I think the biggest takeaway from the 3 events that we did so far was basically that, hosting an esports event is not cheap. So you need a lot of money, and I think the majority of the money really goes into the prize pool. I mean, this is a hard fact. It's a basic math that people do, because, like, if you want to make an event as engaging as you expect it to be, you need to bring in the best teams, and the best teams are only going to come when the prize pool is big enough. So if you need to have a big enough prize pool, means you need to have a big budget overall. So that means, like, the whole event might have to be live streamed instead of us just focusing on, like, the semifinals or the finals, just, that stretch to be live streamed. Usually, like, for most of the events that you do watch on YouTube, it's all, like, big budget. They have like a 1 lakh prize pool, 3 lakh prize pool. I mean, they obviously, like, worked till that point to get that kind of a sponsorship or that kind of a prize pool. So we'll also get there.
Yeah.
And no surprises over there. But, this was one big takeaway that we kind of understood, that, yeah, you
I-
need to
That's
have a
like
lot of
the
money.
yeah.
Yeah.
that's like the reason why Namir doesn't have a mic yet.
No, I
Oh,
was gonna
yeah.
I was gonna say one thing that we really didn't like mention is the fact that we did all these tournaments without registration fees.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's
So
something
that
that
was,
we forgot to mention.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the main reason why we wanted to do that was because so in terms of me, handling the esports, area of Lobby Zero itself, we wanted to give this experience of what we watch to a player who just wants to, like, try his luck and see, like, if he's good enough for the scene itself. It could be somebody who is just like, okay, I played like a couple of competitive matches, I might be good enough, so, like, I have a team, let's try it and see. So for people like them, if we are able to, host a live event and they go and share this out, so we are kind of building a platform for them as well. It's not just the big names that we are focusing on. We are focusing on everybody over here. We want to give everybody an equal chance, and, let them, take their share of the whole esports experience.
Yeah.
I think that was the major ideology that we had in terms of like growing the esports scene. But eventually, yes, we want to like switch it up a bit, and that is also like a kind of a good segue to look at what we are really expecting with the esports growth that we have under Lobby Zero. So as of now, we are going to wait till the point where we can have a big enough prize pool where we can engage a lot more players than we did initially with all of our 3 events. We want to make sure that it is big enough so that people actually like consider it to be serious enough to give it a shot, participating and try and see if they can win this. But I think a major black hole that I see in the esports sector in India is the collegiate program. And that was something which was inspired from the scene which is already happening in EU and NA, where they have the same level of esports events that all the pro teams are going with, but in between colleges. And that is something like we are looking ahead in terms of esports activation in that particular market. We want to bring this rivalry out because now, since more and more players are getting engaged into gaming, because now the hardware is so advanced, anybody can now get into like let's say a game like Valorant or CS:GO, Rainbow Six Siege, any of the esports titles. And I've literally witnessed myself like in a college scenario, you actually like end up finding really good talent. So we want to activate that particular segment, and also enable esports organizations to kind of scout out more than just looking at people through YouTube, but actually like look at really good players who are playing really well in the college level, because the younger players right now seem to be performing way better than the older players because their reflexes are faster, their focus is more on point in the game. So I think for esports, that is where we are heading on to the next chapter for Lobby Zero, which is the collegiate program. So that is all the info I can give as of now. The rest of the details, I guess, like in the coming episodes, or probably like maybe within a month or two, we might have an actual event around it.
Yeah.
So
I think not to add to this, but just to give slightly more detail on collegiate program. It's a great thing to notice that it's not just even about esports, and that's like the great part about Lobby Zero. It's going to grow in multiple fronts. Let's just say that, not to give off details.
I mean, at the
again.
end of the day, I think it's about being able to access that consumer, being able to access that market, not just from a capitalization of opportunity point of view, but also the fact that that's really where the passionate gamer is, like that, and a lot of these kids, especially with what's going on, like with the worldwide pandemic and everything, it's a really solid form of escapism that I think has a positive effect at the end of the day. And in order to be able to get in touch with those guys and create opportunities for communities to be formed, a lot of the times when I have conversations with people who are in colleges, especially like Vibhav and Deb and Nihal, everyone says, yeah, so we have like very what do you say, scattered groups, very scattered small groups across the institute or across the network, but there is no one-stop shop where this kid from this college thinks, I'm a gamer, where do I find the rest of the gamers in this campus? Like that's ideally what we want to end up being, like this community where a kid from any college can be like, okay, so I've just entered this ecosystem, now where do I find the other people like me, and where do I find people where I can, I mean, not just like me, but within gaming, different kinds of people, because at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's not like a gamer. I don't think a gamer just finds one genre and just sticks to that for the rest of his life, right? Like me myself, I've seen myself migrate and transition from so many different genres and types of games. So I know, like, if this community becomes a real thing, like on top of the esports activation that we can do, I feel like the sense of community and people being able to meet other people, learn new things about games. Um, I think there's a lot of students like Vibhav that are trying to build communities like this and trying to get that attention, um, from the official authorities in that institute, in that campus. And the reason they're doing that is because there is real value there. It's not
Yeah.
just about shooting somebody on the screen. It's more about it's so much to it with regard to designing things, with regard to learning about mechanics, the technology, the art, the storytelling that's behind it, the you know obviously the competitiveness, but also the strategy, there's so many skills and thought processes that go into it. I think can be enabled and facilitated if a community is really given the power to get together. And so I think that's what Lobby Zero really wants to do, using the Player Zero program, which is the campus ambassador program, and by through that build lobbies across the country in different states, in different cities, in different campuses. So I do foresee there being a good number of challenges in the process, but
Yeah.
hopefully we can overcome it and make it happen.
To know
One
more
thing
about the
I'll
blog.
add- One thing
I
I'll
was just
add
gonna
to this-
plug in over there. To know more about the Player Zero program, log into
Yeah.
lobbyzero.com
Yeah,
and read
We've
more
got a
about it.
page
And
there.
if you want to become a Player Zero, you can hit us up
absolutely,
as well. Yeah.
absolutely.
One thing I'll add to all of this is, the process of evolution of ideas. I mean, like Player Zero or like the campus ambassadorship, as it was called internally for a long time.
Yeah.
It's a pretty old, topic. We've been working around about how we could incorporate this into various channels until like we found like a structure already, but it's still in its basic form. The thing is, all of these projects like Unlocked or just bringing creators on the board, having esports, or competitions, these go through several stages of evolution before they're out for the public.
Execution.
And
Yeah.
like we are all constantly asking ourselves, like, how can we do this better? How is this much more
Yeah.
feasible for everyone? How is this much more accessible to everyone? And
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
the beauty of Lobby Zero, that we are
Absolutely.
trying to get the best quality for people
Yeah.
out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's a good point. So I guess that's it for the esports section. And
Now
is
we are going to get in the
provided-
juiciest.
the pressure is
the
real.
biggest part.
Shit, bro.
Yeah.
Y'all scaring me, man.
It's scary.
Should have stopped debating that Harry Potter shit.
Making you regret that. Like we were in here talking, and I was checking the chat, this common chat that me and Chris are in. He's just going on. He's just like, yeah, this, yeah, that. I'm like, bro,
Snape,
we're
bro.
waiting.
I defend my
Like
guy.
heated discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Bro, he did.
but yeah, man, let's talk about content, bro, because at the end of the day, that's the cornerstone, baby. You know what I'm
It is. I
saying?
mean,
Like,
that's how our people communicate with us, our fans, our community, or whoever it is. They communicate, like they get to know us through the
Yeah.
content, basically.
yeah.
So-
It's identity, it's presence. It's so many different things. I mean, obviously, like the other verticals also contribute, but this is really like the face. You know what I mean? Like the face of the brand, and what it can become. So yeah, man, let's talk about whatever we've done. If
Yeah.
you've aggregated it and what we can expect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna wing this shit at the top of my head.
I think you can start off with from a year ago.
Oh
Because
yeah,
that
that's
was-
true.
Yeah.
Because
Like
Lobby
LG
Zero was
campus.
generally
Yeah.
started off on content, right?
It was just content. It was just an Instagram page, right? So yeah,
PS4
so-
capture images and videos.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
My job back then was so much easier. All I had to do was just play a bunch of games, record my gameplay, take screenshots.
He was doing that
upload it.
already. He was doing that already.
Yeah, but then now, like, I picture what scene I want to see in Lobby Zero page. Like for me, it was cool. Like shit, my content is being put up on a
Yeah,
Instagram page. As like highlights or some shit. So that's how we started off. We had the original content bucket, which is captures, reels, news. I'm forgetting the rest, but clearly I'm winging it.
Real new
News.
clearly.
Okay, wait. I have the
What? There was
Instagram page
5.
opened up. We have
Oh,
story
we had
mode,
story mode.
title,
Story mode, title. Oh yeah, forgot
Yeah.
about those.
We had
Capture reel.
playlist at one
Playlist.
point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I remember.
the songs in that doesn't, we don't own that. So just disclaimer.
Yeah.
It's just a playlist.
No, that's
Spotify
just
playlist.
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
just a
link
playlist.
to the playlist that we make. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just listen to the playlist that we made. We don't own anything. We own the playlist. That's it. So yeah. So the thing is, when we started off, we had those 5 as the main content buckets. So the captures and reels were mainly from my end. We didn't really hit the UGC side up until we started again. Phase 2 of the brand, I guess, or the second phase. Yeah. So we started off with proper UGC content. So for captures and reels, now is our main, I guess, bucket where we get UGC content from our audience. So it started off with me just hitting up random people that I feel had good quality content.
Disclaimer: UGC stands for user generated content. Just for those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started off with me just hitting up guys that like I search in certain hashtags like in-game photography and stuff, and I find these amazing captures, like insane. I can't believe it's in a game, and I'm just taken away. I'm mind blown. Like I was like, shit. This whole time I was putting my captures, and I thought they were good. It was oh my god. There's a whole new world that I discovered. So I started hitting up these people. I told them, yo, your stuff is amazing, and I would love to feature them on our page. And most of them said yeah, and they were excited and they were happy to, as long as we gave them credit, which we did. So you can check them out on our page. So after that, slowly people started hitting us up and saying, can you feature my content on your page? And which we welcome, by the way. If you guys have any content, if you guys have gameplay or in-game photography, send it to us. Email it to us. It'll be linked in the description below, and on our Instagram you can see the email. So yeah, so people started hitting us up, and we started getting a lot of user-generated content, and so that was working really well. That's the UGC side. Other than that, we created this new content bucket called the engagement post, which basically right now we're focusing on is versus. Yeah. So we tried that out for a while.
Just quickly before we get into the versus bit, like for me, like when I started looking at the UGC stuff that was coming in. Some of the pages that Chris is talking about, where the UGC was being created, in-game photography, whatever. There's a lot of these creators that push stuff out very specific to one title. So like, there's like a person who might be really in on cyberpunk photography, or one person who's really in on Red Dead, or one person who's really in on GTA, whatever, right? Which or whatever. I think the coolest thing about us doubling down on the UGC stuff is that we become an amalgamation of all these different genres, all these different game worlds, and the art behind these game worlds, because like it becomes a gallery, and obviously we're crediting them that, but the beauty of the user generated community led content bucket is that yes, like it's coming from one creator who is really into this one game, but the end story is actually bigger. I've been watching. I randomly found this video on YouTube, and I think it's a series now, if I'm not wrong. I think the title of it is, in quotes, "It's just a video game." Okay, like that's the title of that video. But it's basically like, I think a 10-minute video where they show all these really impactful, like strong moments, like moving moments in games, and like show that it's bigger than that. It's bigger than just what you might consider to be a video game, quote unquote. And I think
a video game.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what we do with the UGC stuff is such a testament to the art behind it and the appreciation that the community has for that medium. In addition to a lot of crazy dumb shit that people do with GTA and games like that. But yeah,
we have those too.
Yeah,
plug it. Get the description, or go to our YouTube channel. I think you guys stream every Sunday.
Yeah,
Saturday.
We missed Saturday. Yeah, we missed this
last
weekend. we had a lot going on. But yeah, Sick Warrior was
Yeah.
happening, right? So
Yeah. I mean, that was a better stream, so it was worth it. So yeah, I mean, going back to the UGC side, one thing I realized is I did not really focus too much on mobile games because
Right.
I didn't really think. I mean, I didn't really look into it, but I don't know if there's anything worthy of a capture there. So that's something I guess we can look into. Maybe that's what's
Yeah.
coming.
absolutely.
So yeah, so that's UGC side. Then other than that, we got daily news post. So news is one thing that we started off on a really great foot. A really great. I screwed up that
Note.
line. Note. Yeah. Winging it. So but then right now we've been slowly dropping down on the news, the frequency of the news posts. And that's also one thing that's in what's coming is our news post is going to be on point. We got Johan on board, so we've discussed and we figured out a way to make sure the news posts come out as frequently as possible, almost every day, ideally, as long as there is news to report on. So that's one thing I realized. Our page, our page is like I've been looking through Gaming Bible, IGN, their Instagrams just to see, scout other content and stuff. And one thing I noticed is all of them have their own, I guess, specific content bucket. Like IGN is mainly news focused. Gaming Bible is like memes and reels, UGC reels kind of stuff. And we're like a mix of all of these pages.
Yeah.
We're like a mix of Gaming Bible, IGN, and Gameology and stuff.
Right.
So that is, I guess, what makes Lobby Zero stand out, right? Why our content, I feel like, might be biased, but our content is superior, right? Our content bucket style is superior. We're taking in everything and not just specific games. We're like all kinds of games, all platforms, mobile, console, PC, all that.
Right.
And so that's just one thing I wanted to mention. So then we started doing this versus post for engagement.
Right.
So that actually has been getting pretty good engagement, like especially on our stories. People are actually debating. I see people commenting
really
and stuff.
invested.
Yeah, they're so like when they get hurt when somebody else says they something against their favorite character. That's exactly what we want. We want you guys to fight. We want you to fight for your favorite character.
Kill each other.
I have this one friend who was so like kind to me and so nice to me. Okay, like in person, he was an intern at the company that I was working at. He was so chill. He was such a soft-spoken, kind-hearted guy. And this one versus post, I went and I think I supported Batman. This guy went off on me in the comment section. This is Batman against who's
Spider-Man.
Batman?
Spider-Man.
Yeah. I went Batman, and this guy went off, and then he's like, "What, bro? Like, what do you want, bro?" And I'm like, "What? Like, you are not this person. Why are you getting so triggered?" But it was really cool to see that.
I love how
invested.
after saying we are aiming at a welcoming and non-toxic community.
Non-toxic.
We are like trying to bring out the toxicity in the like non-toxic people.
I mean, justifiable toxicity.
I don't even want to call it toxicity. I think it's passion. I mean, there is a line between toxicity and passion. Like, I mean, hopefully at the end of the day, like people draw that line. That's what we can hope for.
Yeah, but like I think we are pretty fortunate with our community and our team also that this is on a tangent here again, but we've got like people who are definitely very passionate about video games. A lot of it matters to them, so which is why we all do what we are doing right now. So
absolutely,
it's always nice to see all those comments trying to defend their favorite team because
definitely
that matters a lot to them.
I mean, that kind of rivalry is good.
That is the nature. That is what social media is for. It's to say your piece and talk about it, and put your opinion.
And you learn more. Like I learned a lot more about these characters. I chose who fights who, and then I see the comments. I'm like, shit, I didn't even know about that. Like,
and I think subconsciously, I feel like if we do a good job of facilitating these kinds of debates and conversations, like it will imprint, because at the end of the day, their debate, like, as long as when I get into debates or when I get into like arguments or whatever, if it's something that I'm passionate about and I'm not really salty about it, it's just that I love defending what I know about and what I support. It's actually a really fun time.
Discussion.
It's a really fun time. It's a really fun discussion, and it's a really fun space to be in, because there's no negativity. It's just that you're saying your piece and you love exercising your brain to defend something, to fix the puzzle in a way where you can present a story. And if we do that consistently with our audience, and if we do it at a high quality in the way we've been doing it with versus posts and stuff like that, I think subconsciously it'll imprint. It's a space that they'll want to be in. It's a space they'll want to engage in conversation in. And even if that's a little spicy, I think they like it. So yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what I was doing before this. The whole Snape, Harry Potter shit. I was defending my guy.
No,
bro.
but Chris does turn it up a notch on his personal on his personal note. He asks all the craziest like questions and all that. But yeah, but that's
just
a
to
whole
see the
nother
response.
thing. Yeah, just to see your response. Yeah, so that's a whole nother thing. But yeah.
So I'm thinking like the versus post is just one part of the engagement content bucket. So initially when we started off, we had a bigger idea. Like I pitched a bigger idea to Isaac, and he was just like, "No, that's too big. We're just gonna stick to verses." I wanted it to be like a whole. Oh shit!
Steal your ambitions.
No, that's too big.
That's too big.
Okay, please cut this part.
We're cutting this part out. We're cutting this.
Oh, that's stupid. What did he say?
It's too big, he said.
That's too big.
Too big. Yeah. So I initially pitched to Isaac like, yo, let's actually have like a proper big ass a battle, like what's that thing called?
A knockout.
A knockout kind of contest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a versus where weekly we pin two characters together, and then the winner goes to the next round, semifinals, quarterfinals, whatever. I don't know how that works. And then Zach straight up just said, nah, let's not do that. I was like, what? Why? That's an amazing idea. I was so excited. I wrote down a list. I built the whole tier system and shit. Zach's like, nah, let's just do weekly, random, two people fight each other, and that's it. So I mean, so he explained it.
Is there a point to this that's gonna come back to my credit, or are you just shitting on?
So, Mr. CEO, the point he's trying to make.
He just shattered on my idea. He's suppressing creativity.
That's not a word. Shattered is not a word, bro.
Bro, just let me use my word, bro.
I like
I
how
can use whatever word.
venting about Isaac, right?
This is not why I organized this call, by the way.
Nami took his cake.
Your cathartic experiences can be on personal calls, not on the public space. But no, I explained why. I think we talked about it. It was
thing is I forgot what it is. What you explain?
Yeah, conveniently. I think at that time it was just a little too similar to what Gaming Bible was doing. I feel like, and they had the exact thing going on, but also I felt like we should upgrade to that rather than going into that like straight up. We should have these disconnected pieces, because at the end of the day, these characters in and of themselves, should have that attention rather than just being a part of a knockout thing. So I wanted to, even on the highlight section or whatever, I wanted to bring attention to each of these characters. And I guess the one modification that I had suggested to what we were doing now, which I don't think we really incorporated, maybe because of the effort, was, I wanted to have an approach where we were defining the characteristics and the powers of these characters, like in a fun way, in like a unique, fun way, unique take. But I guess that was a little heavy on the requirement side.
We'll get there. That will be like the next.
So the idea is to do something simple, execute it regularly, which again is something that I think we will need to double down on. But then eventually, I mean, that's what makes sense, right? People get invested in these characters. They realize that we pay attention to these characters individually, and then we bring all of them together, like for like a big knockout, whatever thing is. I guess that was my rationale behind it. But
yeah. So that's actually good, because that took me away from. So initially, when I thought of this versus idea, the knockout idea, I thought of the best gaming protagonist, right? But that kind of limits me to just protagonists. So now when we put that away, I got to thinking like, like it could be villains, it could be zombie types in different games. Which zombie type is better? Which zombie type will wipe? Like it's just an idea I had. We haven't done it yet. We will. That's probably gonna come soon. So it opened my mind to more ideas, different kind of battles that could take place. So I guess that's my point. Where Zach did I I'm just giving you credit.
That's the full circle.
So yeah. So
I think it's about how Isaac said both the characters also mean a lot, even to us. Like I get that Isaac likes Batman, but similarly, Spider-Man does hold up. Yeah, no,
Absolutely,
this is not a
absolutely.
dig at his
I don't
personal
think.
liking,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I
but
agree.
yeah.
yeah,
So then another thing I started doing is the memes, right? So I did not think this would actually blow up, but memes are actually one of the most liked content on our page right now. Every time I push out a meme, people are just liking it. It's going crazy, like through the hashtags. I don't understand. I'm trying to nail this down how this works because I'm checking the analytics and it's always from through the hashtags. But I don't get it. I'm using similar hashtags on other posts, but it's
Right.
not, getting traction. So I
Translating.
don't. Yeah. So I'm trying to nail down how it's working. But I think in the end of the day, it's just funny content, I guess, and relatable content, right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like literally, I posted a meme today, and it already got we were like 70, 80 likes in the first 30
Excellent.
minutes. Like it was yeah. Flex, love is
We are
your
at
flex.
125 right now on that.
How many?
Huh?
120.
Alright.
We are at 125 on that right now.
Damn.
Oh,
Damn.
wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. To those listening, that might sound like their own personal IG like numbers and shit, but for us, it's pretty good.
This is
right?
not a selfie, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
So
I feel,
those are.
I
Sorry?
know this. Okay, we'll put this meme up, the 4950, and you appear on Killcam.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
that so much right now. I've been playing
Yeah.
Halo multiplayer recently, and oh
Mhm.
my god, the chat just goes toxic if I'm the last guy to die.
Dude, yeah, I mean that meme was too relatable. Like when I saw that, I was like, "This has to be it," because it's happened to me so many times, and no one says anything on my team because they're not toxic. But I just feel so embarrassed. Like I'm just like, God damn it, why it gotta be me, man? Like I saw another guy, Isaac just died there. Why is it me in the kill cam? So I had a feeling people like that. So
Yeah.
so otherwise one thing we did different from earlier last year content buckets was we took out title and we took out story mode, right? We took out story mode.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm thinking we can reincorporate that once we hit I guess once we get a bit more manpower, I guess once we have a bit more manpower flexibility, I think we can reincorporate that. That's actually two really good content buckets. And a few more content buckets I was thinking of was LZ nostalgia and LZ quotes. So there's something I just pitched to Isaac, so I didn't tell anybody else. So what I was thinking is like gaming quotes, right? In-game quotes where like Arthur Morgan said, "I'm afraid." It might not sound like anything to anybody else who didn't play the game, but the people who played the game know what he's talking about, and it's
absolutely.
really those words hit you. Like I was like, damn, when I made that post myself. I just made a template myself using XD for fun. Looked like shit. Isaac straight up said no.
This is all just like an
Oh,
Isaac
guys, he's
fight.
getting exposed on this episode.
I feel like there's a
I'm the only one who has been nice so far.
yeah, there's a pattern emerging here that I don't like what's being displayed. But trust me.
If only you had said no to casters.
Oh.
Actually, initially he did. Then I had to convince him over a 1 hour call, and then that is when, like, okay, if they're willing to do it for this budget, cool.
Oh god. Yeah.
No, but see, when he said no, like he was correct. Like, dude, it was shit. my design was shit. It was not a shit on Zach. He made the right call. I'm actually complimenting him. You guys took it the wrong way. So yeah. So I guess you can look forward to that. I'm gonna let the experts handle the creative side of the LZ quotes and LZ nostalgia. So yeah, I think you can see that coming pretty soon. I guess, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that's the IG side. So basically for socials, we have IG and YouTube as our main primary, but we also have Twitter, Discord, and we looked into Facebook groups, but we decided we'll go back to that at a later time. And the rest of the guys here don't know, but I also made a TikTok account for us. So this is
It's banned in
much
India,
for
so
Indian
we didn't know.
yeah,
So
I
much
just
for
told
Indian
Zach. That's it. So I made TikTok just to test it out because I wanted to try like Instagram Reels basically is taking off right now, right? So Instagram Reels
Yeah.
and YouTube created YouTube Shorts. So I wanted to test out how much traction I can get through those Reels and Shorts. So basically, we changed the whole our Lobby Zero Reels content bucket into actual Instagram Reels, and it might be confusing to you guys, but Lobby Zero Reels is basically our content bucket for in-game footage, and Instagram Reels is Instagram's version of TikTok. So we basically followed that same format, and that made it easier for me to basically replicate the same content on IG and YouTube Shorts and TikTok. I was just testing out on all three of the platforms, and right now I just realized TikTok is banned in India, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So much for Indian viewers.
Couldn't have picked a better timing for this realization.
In this moment, did you just Google it?
No,
just
I don't like
struck him.
Google it. It just clicked in my head. Like, wait a minute, why did these two? No, okay, no. I knew it, then I forgot
We'll
about
repost
it,
it
and
on
then I just thought
YouTube
about it
and
again.
IG.
Yeah.
We'll repost it on YouTube.
We
and
don't
IG,
have a
so
TikTok.
that's
I was lying this whole time. We don't have.
That's the clip right there
I love this.
for the YouTube shots of this episode.
But no, it's because Chris lives in Singapore now because he's illegally downloaded like TikTok. Right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically, it's exactly what it is.
We're doing nothing illegal. Please don't.
Yeah,
So
no,
what's
no
what it is
illegally.
like?
Yeah, it's just me. So I don't even have Instagram Reels. I can only use Instagram Reels on
that's the
Lobby
thing,
Zero's
yeah.
account.
That's
Yeah,
like
you
the
know,
odd
so-
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of annoying,
Living
to
in these
test it
two
out.
like separate circles.
Dude, yeah,
Well,
I
we
have
have
to
to
keep track
rely
of
on
what is
these.
banned and what is not banned. You know, like what I have access to, what I don't have access to.
Yeah.
So yeah. So now on YouTube, right now we started pushing our content like about a month ago, and we've been going really hard at it. Actually, that's where our main focus is right now. We've been going crazy with YouTube. Like the creative team is also getting exhausted. I feel like, at the YouTube side. So right now we have weekly content pieces going out, like Lobby Zero, Lobby Zero a roundup, which is done by Rahul. Strange, sorry, my bad. And and we got straight out of Los Santos, our GTA
think it's,
live stream.
I think it's a
Right, sure.
flagship. It's our flagship program.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch the content, there's nothing flagship about the content. It's just the straight out of Los Santos part is flagship. Everything else is like, what the is this doing?
Very
It's-
bad
it's-
role play.
It is very good bad roleplay. This is intentionally.
Yeah,
is-
it's ironically bad.
It's not that we suck at it.
Yeah. This is okay. Just a disclaimer for anybody who is like going to be watching any of those highlight. I think we have the highlight videos for those, right?
Yeah.
we
So-
have the entire clips also. Please watch the.
None of it.
two,
None of it is scripted. These guys are actually
Yeah.
dumb as.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's funny
They
as
are.
shit content. It's funny as
Yeah.
shit content.
I
kid
They
you
love
are
not,
dumb
like,
as fuck.
yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I love
Yeah.
how every time these guys get like a mission failed, it's always Namil, what did you do?
Why would you pull up the car like that in front of those guys, man?
And so many times it's like Krislin or Isaac, and they're still like, no, what did Namil
Yeah.
do?
Oh man.
And even
No, I feel
Namil's
like
just
in that
brings-
property, I feel like in that property we're creating like characters. There's like personality.
Exactly.
being
Yeah.
Exactly. Tell him, Isaac.
Yeah, we've got
Yours,
Pizza underscore
yours is
Lobby.
not a favorable one.
What, the dumb blonde?
We've got Preacher
Listen.
underscore Lobby who got his underscore Lobby surname from his
Yo, I literally changed my PS name like for that, and then all of a sudden
He thought it sounded cool. He
I-
thought it was
no.
like Face Clan, you know?
it's
Like-
not.
I told him it was a bad
Listen,
idea. It
it was
sounded so
Lobby
lame.
preacher.
No,
Preacher
but
lobby.
it was okay like until you started shitting on it, because like honestly it wasn't supposed to phonetically sound great. It was just on the screen it would pop up as Lobby. I was just trying to rep the brand, but you started shitting on it. So now it's a different feel. But
Yeah. It's your surname.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess in terms of what we've done on the content side, I'm very proud because like we really doubled down and leveled up in terms of production quality, rate of production. and
Yeah.
also quality of content. Like the stuff that we did kind of remove, I guess. I mean, as much as we could bring them back or incorporate them back in an effective way or probably in a better way, but those things, I guess, were removed as part of an evolution, and that evolution was very necessary to, I think, build the identity of the brand and the kind of content that we do. Like I've said this before, like a big part of Lobby Zero right now, before we achieve what we were supposed to achieve, is curation. Like that's a game that we can play, and curation is about finding the content that people will really like and then pushing that out. Creation is slowly coming into the picture, and we are doubling down on that. The properties, native properties that you see, it's coming in. But at the end of the day, this whole concept of curation when it comes to content, it's not just about finding the right kind of content, but I think also the right kind of content creators and the collaborators. And content as a vertical, in terms of what we've done over the past 3 months, I think uh, the thing that I'm learning is see, like when we started off Lobby Zero, we had started off thinking about what's the content that we want to push out, what's the content that
Yeah.
we really like. But I think in the format and in the lens of a business and in the lens of a brand that's trying to be all inclusive, we're learning to think outside of that box. We're learning to think, how do we create content for the audience? So I guess each one of us, we're thinking almost like an entertainer, and hopefully over the course of time, we figure out the keys and we figure out how to listen, really how to listen and watch how the audience is acting, reacting. So it's definitely happening. And on the content creator side, we obviously made some big steps.
Mhm.
We onboarded a couple of creators. We learned from the experiences that we had with them. We had PurpleShrimp that came on board and just I mean, she's great because she's so cooperative, and the her just nature of being and the way she works with us has been great. It's only been a month of work that we've done with her, but we're really looking forward to taking that forward. Um, and this whole collaborating outside of that, with somebody like Sick Warrior, was a big step for us as well, because I mean we had the plan. We had the plan. We want to get in touch with this big creator. We want to make this thing happen. When it happened, it it made us realize a lot of things are possible, because that's a gateway. Um,
Yeah,
especially
like
when it,
everyone has plans,
yeah,
How did
executing
we executed
is,
the whole thing? I just realized
yeah.
we fucking did it. Like,
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
that's true.
exactly. So that happened, and obviously it's big for us. Absolutely, obviously it's a big first, because we this is not just about getting views through that one stream for us, as a brand, as a business, as a team, and as a collective that's trying to elevate the culture. It's about, a big part of this is the fact that we got to choose the creator that we wanted to collaborate with, and we knew
Mm.
this is the guy that we wanted to do this with, and he was the first choice, and it happened. So ideally what we want to do is scale that and collaborate with creators that we want to collaborate with, and because we know only if we're able to choose and we're able to really hone in on those right creators with the right IP and execute on that, that's what's going to result in disproportionate return, and disproportionate value for the audience, right? So that's something that we're definitely looking forward to. So I'm just gonna, I guess I'll, Chris, you want to say something about what's coming in terms of or do you
Yeah,
want to
I'll
present
I'll,
anything
I'll
more
just
about what we've done? Yeah.
I'll just take a tangent over here just to give a shout out to the rest of the team behind the screen that's
Absolutely.
also working
Yep.
on like
Mm.
content creation. It comes down to like video editors again, whom I personally work with for the roundup and everything. So
Yeah.
I mean, just today I was having a conversation with him and he was like, hey, I think this could be done better in a way where I can incorporate this thing into the roundup video. So right now he's working on two different versions, one which is like the standard one that we go with, and
Mm.
one that he thinks would be a better way to go about it. So like
It's going the
he's
extra
he's
mile.
ready to put in that
Yeah.
much effort in the very similar time frame that he has to execute it into, just because that could be a better way to go ahead with our content and
Yeah.
evolve this
I
further
think
down.
that's the very demanding thing about content, which is I mean, at the end of the day, what we were trying to do with native properties is to set a base, to set a system, to create a system that can work like a machine. But the
Yeah.
reality is you're gonna always have to like reinvent
Yeah.
Yeah.
and rethink stuff. And it's easier to fall into the whole concept of like, okay, we've set it in place, now just execute. But I mean, that is not how it's gonna work, especially when there's so much content out there and so much competition, you know.
No,
So
that's the thing. So we're learning a lot from this. You know,
yeah,
this is
absolutely.
our first attempt at this. Even personally, none of us have tried this. Most of us at least, our first attempt at this. And the fact that we actually tried to do like what you said, putting proper schedules and stuff, and realizing that that's not how it works. You know, we thought we figured out how the content strategy is going to work, and now we're realizing we got to change. There's some areas we got to change
Yeah.
because that's not how YouTube works. Like YouTube is pretty different from Instagram. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like what we started off with similar. We treated it kind of similar to Instagram, which we now realize that's not the case. YouTube is a whole another ball game, and we are slowly evolving to adapt.
Yeah, and it's
to,
not just about the difference of platforms, it's the fact that the platforms themselves constantly evolve. So like the algorithms evolve, like the way
Yeah.
people consume and use those platforms evolve. So anybody who's creating content, like we're just into it, so it's a lot for us to learn and execute. But like, yeah, I mean, I think we're really learning a lot in that process, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing that I like to note, I guess we already did in previous podcasts, but the fact that we are doing this ourselves, we're not hiring any people, or we're not, getting any other people to make these content properties for us. We are doing it ourselves. Like, all of us are taking in the time, to actually make content for YouTube.
Yeah, that's actually a big, I guess, learning curve that we did have initially. It was something that hit us, because there was an initial plan of, okay, cool, we have these properties, and we're gonna get creators to just work on
I know why
work
Navin's
on these
laughing.
properties. You're gonna get people to work on these properties, and I think over time, and this is actually something that even Rohim talked about in the previous podcast, which is at the end of the day, if you're trying to build a business like this, you guys are gonna have to be creators yourselves. Like, you're gonna have to do some level of content creation, because that's really if that's the cornerstone of your business, and you guys don't do anything, like as creators, then it's gonna be hard, especially to connect with the audience. So I think
Yeah, now
when
we
we
all have
realized, I think when we realized that, oh crap, like we might have to take this up ourselves and do it. I didn't know I was gonna be the person hosting the podcast, honestly. so, but now that it's happening, like it's a pretty cool experience. Like, obviously,
Shut up, you
it's
love it, Isaac. He's been talking about running a podcast since like 10th grade.
yeah, but I actually wasn't expecting to be the person who was hosting initially. The idea was to have somebody to help host it.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
we will have more interesting people as well.
yeah, it's coming up, man. We have somebody really interesting booked for the next one, so that's gonna be really cool from the industry. So
At least this one's confirmed now.
yeah, this one's confirmed. Yeah. Just to wrap it up on the content side of things, in terms of what we can expect, I think the big thing we're gonna double down is collaborations. Like that is the big thing that's gonna happen on the content side. On the apparel side is obviously gonna be drops. It's gonna be how do we also on the apparel side collaborate with creators. On the esports side, we're really just doubling down on the college program and how to build that ecosystem. And on the content side, it's going to be collaboration with content creators, like the one we did with Sick Warrior. And we want to build a narrative through that. If we can stitch it all together, at the end, with something really big, something really cool, where we can hold that on our property. I think that's like the culmination for the next 3 months to happen. So yeah, I think big things are coming. We are going to be doubling down. 3 months was enough time for us to figure out what we want and what we don't want. And the next 3 months is going to be the time where we double down and we execute and just scale our efforts in terms of knowing where to focus and just building that. I think up until then, towards the end of the 6 months, the next 3 months, we're just gonna work towards making this thing a reality. like Lobby Zero as a concept, Lobby Zero as a project, as a business, as a brand, is an amalgamation of all the ideas that come up, all the ideas that are born, all the ideas that die, and the things that we learn from those, and how we reinvent across the three verticals. You're going to see a lot of things happening. You might also see us learning from our mistakes and reinventing and rehashing. That's also the stuff that you're going to see. Like, you're going to see a lot of that, and we're going to be open about that. I think we've been open about that in this podcast. I think the purpose behind this episode and the purpose behind the podcast in general, obviously, when we interview guests and when we interview people in the industry, it's obviously to provide value to you guys. Conversations like these where we talk about internal stuff and we talk about the processes. It's also because we know there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of people out there that's trying to do something in the gaming space. They're trying to build their own thing. And
stop trying, come and join us.
Huh? What?
Stop trying and come and join us.
At the end of the day, if we can bring like even an ounce of value in terms of the mistakes that we make and the things that we learn from those mistakes, even our successes, obviously, that's something we want to do. So you guys stay tuned. The Ground Zero podcast is much more than just a bunch of banter. It's going to be the maximum value that a gaming podcast can extract, and we're just getting started. And now that we've completed 7 episodes, we're for real. So touch wood.
That was like the coolest outro.
I just realized, I think
the circles.
I don't think we've ever spoken about how like ridiculously ambitious this whole thing is. Because firstly, all my research, at least according to myself, according to my research, I haven't come across a single company that's raised funding in 6 months. Okay, firstly. So we're on track to do that. So like for the next, so we're practically kind of at least a year or a year and a half, at least. Like you have to bootstrap it, and we're trying to accomplish all of this within 6 months. And I think the rate at which we're working also, we're kind of trying to account for that. Compression, and I think we're actually on track, like especially if the next 3 months, if we are going to try and hit the same level of velocity, I think we might be actually able to achieve it. So yeah.
Hit and exceed,
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, so that's pretty much it for this episode. Like I said, stay tuned for the coolest, most profound I feel like that's a stretch, but the coolest definitely. If you go watch our GTA streams, you're not gonna believe the profound part, but definitely the coolest content from a gaming podcast that you guys can expect. Until next time, we have a really cool guest coming up, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, this is Lobby Zero.
Wait.
What?
Hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You will get 9 years of luck if you hit the notification bell. You will get 9 years of luck.
That's true.
Right?
Science.
Yeah, it's proven science.
Check out our Instagram for like
additional. The outro,
and as usual.
The outro should just be like offbeat, honestly. Like it should just be. It should be just like wait, hold on, don't transition.
Did you just hear Zach just go?
Can that be the final?
When Nabil was trying to say his piece, did you hear Isaac just go? No. Nabil didn't even finish.
I think it's in my brain now. It's like an inner voice.
No, it's because if you want it to be offbeat, if you announce that it's going to be offbeat, it's not going to be offbeat. So
all in post-production.
Post-production.
Any care pun.
Bye.
Okay. All right, guys.
Yeah.
So until next time, Lobby Zero signing out. Peace out.